This is possibly, as Chris has just mentioned, the last ride out from West Coast Harley Davidson at North Street, Glasgow. So this is Clyde Valley's last ride out, the last shop ride out of the season. The new shop opens in February down in Hillington. You can see it, the frame's up already. It's looking good. Chris is road crew and he's going to be leading.
Afternoon even.
Yep, he's going to be leading today, so he'll shortly be briefing the assembled multitude. It's not a big ride out, but it's pretty typical for a short one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah, and it's
an hour and a half up and about half an hour back.
So an hour and a half ride out gets us out. We'll get a wee coffee or whatever when we get to our destination, and then a nice meander back. So you're just waiting on everybody coming, so I chase them up. So you can see Paul standing there in the green vest, so that means he's the sweeper, which was the guy immediately before the tail ender, who I assume is Ian. That's the chap standing beside him.
The tail ender brings up the rear of the group. Sometimes he might stop to ensure that riders are safe if they've stopped.
Moment of hush while Chris briefs the troops.
The sweeper wears the green vest and he rides immediately in front of the tail ender.
That's Ross, the head road captain with the bald head.
Yeah, I know bald head doesn't narrow it down much. Chris has just welcomed everyone to the group, reminding them to have full tanks and empty bladders, outlining the route and getting ready to head off.
Indeed, it's a moment in history.
My name's Chris, I'm leaving
Wins
today.
anyway, that's good. Oh, is this a latecomer? No.
So Chris is just outlining everything that we're going to be doing, any roadworks, anything to bear in mind, the fact that we're joining a motorway and not to be concerned if we get broken up on the approach because of traffic lights and such like. And then he'll give the official disclaimer and we're ready to head off.
Right, so that's us left West Coast onto the motorway. It's always a pain in the butt because the traffic light sequence is so short getting onto the motorway that we end up splitting the group. So Chris will hold the speed down until we get the rest of the group caught up. It's actually quite a big group for a Saturday ride out.
Second man drop off in operation. Bike in front goes into the roundabout. We're waiting for our gap. We're entering the roundabout. There's a bike on the left hand side showing the exit we should take. Bike in front continuing on, we're continuing on. That bike will then rejoin in front of the sweeper. And now we're right in position. There's Chris in front, he's leading. This is the second man in front of me. I'm riding a bit close just so that we can all get this into the camera and see what's happening. We're approaching the roundabout, our way's clear, we're moving on to the roundabout. Chris is in front. Chris has now raised his left hand and he's now pointing where the second man should drop off in order to indicate that the rest of the group should come off on this exit of the roundabout. That's how the second man drop off works.
I'll start over there. Yeah, it's quite a fast road coming from the left, so I want to get myself out of the way. There's no pedestrian zone.
As you can see from the quick glance we had up the hill, there's not an awful lot of bikes there. So we've lost people as we move through the town. So it's quite important that we use the second man drop off. I'm indicating for everyone which direction to go. So the bike's coming through the traffic lights and then the traffic light sequence is about to finish, I think. So as you can see, there's still a pile of bikes coming down the hill. It looks like we're going to get most of them through. Clutch is in, I'm into first gear, I see the green vest of Paul. Ready to go, and now I'm filtering in, join the group, travelling along in staggered formation as we head for the next part of our journey. So the staggered formation allows us to travel closer than we would if we were in single file. We leave 2 seconds between ourselves and the rider directly in front of us, and obviously the rider on the opposite side leaves 2 seconds between them. So that gives us a good stopping distance and a bit of room for error should anything occur. That's how the slide information works.
So that's the second man drop off in operation, that's how that works. As you can see, if you start near the front you end up at the back, and then depending on how many drop offs you have you end up working your way back forward again. Quite a simple system, but it relies on people dropping off, and if you have someone behind the leader that doesn't drop off, then people can easily get lost because they don't know where the hell they're going. I just saw how broken up the group was there. Unless your leader stops and lets everybody catch up. But that's not something you want to do because this is a fairly small ride out, but you can have a ride out 30, 40 bikes and you can't stop that on a public road because it takes up about half a mile of road. So the second man drop off, good system, works well, as long as everybody is aware of what they're doing and they all follow it through. What it does mean though, if you're at the back, you tend to have to go a bit faster to keep up with the group, because even though the group's only doing 40, 50 mile an hour, you end up having to chase because of the hold-ups and the traffic lights and things to try and get back up to speed and keep up with the group, which is all good fun. The well's looking alright for a change. We're out of town now, so there's no real need for me to push forward and get back towards Chris. It's quite straightforward. Looks like diesel or something spilled on the road there. Always nasty. If you're ever going round a corner, should be aware that even if it's dropped in the middle of the road, what happens is it tends to wash out towards the outsides, depending on the camber. But generally, excuse me, traffic running over debris on the road always pushes it towards the outside of the corner. So if you're doing a right hander, your worst part of the road is going to be the extreme left hand side and vice versa. So if you take your roadcraft principles into account when cornering, you still have to remember that there might be obstructions in the road and there might be debris in the road that's going to get in the way, so you have to bear that in mind. Staggered formation, still in it just now, kind of loosely. As you see, on a country road it's not so important. You can drop back a wee bit and do your own thing, or you can kind of stay in your lane. It just depends how you feel. Nobody's going to criticise you for, you know, coming out and having a wee look round the corner, extending your view. It's fine. Cutting the corner within your side of the road just means you're straightening everything out. Oh, right turns are horrible. Yeah, right turns are a pain in the butt when it comes to a group because they're going to get broken off if there's oncoming traffic. But hey ho, we'll catch up again. It's turning out to be not a bad day at all. Makes up for September. September was pretty wet. only what? How far are we away from Glasgow? What we've done? 29 miles, and what? 10 of that was getting to the shops. We're only 19 miles out of Glasgow roughly. Look at the difference, look at the scenery. Lovely. Scotland's really well, not underpopulated, but it's got a good ratio, you know. It's half the size of England, and we've got a tenth of the people, so that gives us a lot of space. Mind you, a lot of those spaces are mountains and whatever. Oh, looks like we're stopping, an unscheduled stop.